Bushcraft 412 here. We're going to have some fun with some Altoid tins today. I've been experimenting pretty much all morning with Altoid tins, particularly the Altoid smalls. I do have a handful of them laying around, and I've been trying to make a system out of them that's small and just easy to make, no tools, real simple. And this is what I've got so far. And I'm going to keep experimenting with this and working on it and see if I can come up with something a little better than what I have. First, my pot is a simple Heineken can cut with the side cutter so that it's not ragged. And this here is a Lifesavers top. I stole this from someone else's video, and I just happened to run across these at a gas station and picked up a bunch of them. The only downside to them is if you don't keep them super clean, they do get a little rust underneath after time, but this is probably about a year old, and they do fit perfectly on top of the Heineken cans. My system uses the Ultrafire stove stand. This has been in a couple of my other videos. These are about $12. I got mine through cheaperthandirt.com. It comes with the wet fire tinder, and it folds up. Fold it right. It folds up to a tiny little thing, and it's basically just a stove stand. It's meant to go with Esbit style tablets in the wet fire, which are small, similar to Esbit, but they are a little more expensive. And what I'm using is I took a Altoid tin, and if you when you open them up, if you open them up and you pull too hard, you can stretch out the hinges, and once the hinges are stretched off, you can take off the top. And originally I just tried using this part right here, but I found it just would burn super hot and not burn long enough to make the water boil. So I've changed it up, and I've been messing around with this all morning. When I actually found the simplest way is usually the easiest. You know, and as you can see, I've really been experimenting. This is my first model. I was hoping I could punch holes in the top and throw a wick in there, and that I could make a good burner out of this. And this did work, but it took about 4 minutes to boil a cup of water, and I need something a lot quicker than that. And you can see it burned, it welded itself shut. I had to pry it open. It didn't work out how I wanted, but it was a nice attempt. So what I do with these is now I take this and I put just a tiny bit, a couple drops of water on the bottom of this. And what it does is it helps keep the tin from overheating, and it does let the alcohol burn a little better. And I did test both ways, and it does get you maybe an extra 10-20 seconds on your boil time by putting just that couple drops of water down in there. And then I just stack them together, put them in the stand, pour your alcohol in, put your pot on top, and light it. My first test, I did 1 cup of water, room temperature, and it boiled in about 3 minutes and 10 seconds. And I tried it again a couple other different ways, and my boil times varied from 3 minutes to 3.5 minutes to get a really hard boil. Now, I did try 2 cups of water in this, and the 2 cups, only goes up to about maybe right here. And the 2 cups, and I used half an ounce of denatured alcohol, and it brought it to a very slight boil. I wouldn't even really consider it a boil. There was bubbles, there was smoke, but it wasn't anywhere a rolling boil. I don't think it would be hot enough to make water safe. But it, the half an ounce will last about 6 minutes, but the last minute or so, the flame is really weak, and it just didn't get it to that full rolling boil. Possibly with a windscreen. I am going to experiment with a windscreen and see if I can get that 2 cups boiling in about 6 minutes with a windscreen. And if so, that's a system I can live with. But unfortunately, because of the hinges in this, you can only fit just a hair over half an ounce in here, and then it comes up to the hinges and starts to pour out. But I go all together this system, and you can keep a couple of Esbit tablets in here or wet fire in there. two of these together, they maybe weigh an ounce. And you can actually store them inside your heine can, and there's basically a ton of room to spare. You could fit your fork, spoon, maybe a small cup, a couple styrofoam cups in there, and you can actually make a pretty good bushcraft kit with your can with that. And your overall cost, I think these were 99 cents. But I found a couple other tops to other candy that work as well. The Heineken $2.99, but hey, you get to drink the beer. The Wet Fire was $12. Someone that was the most expensive piece, but it's a multi-use item. You can use it as a pot stand for your alcohol stoves, and you can use it for what it's intended for, the Wet Fire. And the Altoids are 99 cents. So altogether, you're maybe $6, and when they wear down and get rusty and whatever, you just buy new ones, because the candy you can eat, the beer you can drink, and this piece here I don't think will ever wear down, so that's something you'll probably have for your life.